So I am going to be one of the commentators at Red Bull Rampage this October, October 16th. So I am so excited to be in studio, really just giving a authentic opinion about what's going on, the things I know, the things I don't know, but just genuine response to the creativity that these free riders are going to get to experience in the most remote, beautiful mountains of Utah. I'm actually riding solo to Utah to do this. I actually have no idea what I'm getting myself into, but what I do know is action sports. And what I do know is I grew up playing and not playing, I grew up skating and surfing, and I'm very keyed in and tuned in to what it's like to really live on the edge. And that's why I wanted to do this. I think it's a really cool opportunity. And I love these new young women paving the way and taking up space that's kind of predominantly been a male sport. Red Bull Rampage actually just started having women participate in the event last year. So this is just such a new venture for them, and to be a part of that growth is really rad for me. I'm actually pretty excited to get there. I'm actually getting to Red Bull Rampage a few days early because I want to understand the complexities of what the event holds. What people don't know is these women actually are hiking and digging and building their trails. That is a part of the creativity piece. So to be able to see, them in real time building out insane runs and jumps, and to see it firsthand on how they create and how they choose to do what they do, and the whole risk versus reward thing. I'm excited to get there a few days early and just kind of surround myself in the atmosphere of like high pressure, high stakes, and it's really, really dangerous. So, I played soccer growing up, so it wasn't really life or death for me. I'm not flirting with the side of a mountain. I'm not, there's a lot of catastrophic things that could happen, and to see the mindset and the process that these young women are going through, it's pretty remarkable. So we were lucky enough to capture Casey as she is kind of embarking on her drive to the competition, and she pulled off on the side of a road and found a coffee shop, which was top tier. I actually kind of love that. It shows her commitment to what she does for a living, and how she shows up in the world. I thought it was pretty spectacular. You could tell that she's a super balanced individual. After having the conversation we had, it's very clear and evident that she prioritizes just as much of the mental training as she does the physical. And I think that's what makes champions. I think that's what builds greatness, is understanding the balance of the physical, emotional needs that it is to be a competitor. And it's not easy. And I love the mindset she's in, that I have a huge opportunity and I'm not going to take it for granted. And, I've been trying to pave the way for people like herself to be able to show up in these big events. And she's not taking it lightly. And she's one of the greatest to ever do it. So I'm really excited to get up close and personal and see her artistry. I would say the theme of this conversation, and the thing I want all of our listeners and viewers to know, what's really, really important and stuck out most for me in this conversation is, if you don't see it, build it yourself. And I think that's exactly what Casey did. She didn't get to see people who look like her show up in the way she wanted to in the world. So she started creating her own legacy and her own way into breaking into that world. And she's done that, and she's living it. And what a beautiful place to live, to allow other people to give them permission to really go after their dreams. And she did that, and she's living it, and she's so young and a trailblazer when it comes to, how she shows up in her sport. And I think that's the biggest takeaway for me is, instead of complaining about not seeing diversity, inclusion, and all the things that we want the most in the world is to be seen, build it yourself, put that on your back. Like, You never know the doors it will open up for other people. And now to our conversation with Casey Brown. Welcome back to Wide Open. I'm Ashlyn Harris, and today I'm sitting down with one of the boldest and most groundbreaking athletes in action sports, Casey Brown. If you know anything about mountain biking, you clearly know Casey. She's been rewriting the rules for years, from the steep trails of British Columbia to the global freeride stage. She's not just writing lines, she's carving out history. Casey is a pioneer in freeride mountain biking, someone who has consistently pushed past barriers in a sport that, for so long, has been dominated by men. She's known for her style, her creativity, and her courage. The kind of athlete who doesn't just ride trails, she builds them. She reimagines them. She shows the world what is possible when you ride with vision and conviction. This October, Casey is stepping into one of the most legendary, intimate arenas in extreme sports, Red Bull Rampage. For years, Rampage has been the ultimate test of freeride mountain biking. Massive cliffs, hand-built lines at the Utah desert, tracks that defy gravity. And today, we're going to talk about what it takes to prepare for Rampage, both physically, mentally, and emotionally. We're going to dive into fear, resilience, creativity, and what it feels like to carry the responsibility of being a trailblazer. And we'll talk about her journey, her vision, and the future in women's action sports, and why this moment matters far beyond the bike. This conversation is about courage, craft, and breaking barriers. Welcome to the show. Wow. I don't even know where to start with really laying the foundation and landscape of what is possible in action sports. And you are so well respected. I am a newbie now. I am going to join you here in October at Red Bull Rampage. And Casey, a free biker, welcome to the show. Tell us a little bit about yourself. For those who don't know what Red Bull Rampage is, we are going to dive into it. You're going to be a fan and you're going to be tuning in. But before we get to that, Casey, tell us a little bit about you as a child, why free biking? Where did this come from? I'm curious in your own words, where did this all start for you?
Yeah, so for me, it started as a kid just following my brother around. He was a free ride mountain biker as well. So, yeah, he was my absolute hero, and yeah, just followed him around. My dad would make me go biking, um, and then there was over a path for women back then. As a freeride mountain biker, there was, like, some that have tried, but you always had to be, like, a racer or something else to in order to get a bit of spotlight, so my journey has been basically putting a spotlight on women's freeride and trying to foster it and make it grow and turn it into something that is a career path for women.
Which is so important, and now more than ever, like the landscape in women's sports in general is just changing so quickly, and people want more and more and more. And I think you've given permission to so many young girls to want to do this and really make a living out of it. And I think that's so empowering and such a big deal that people maybe not people may not quite know what free biking is, free mountain biking, and Red Bull Rampage, and I want people to know this, it's actually not about racing. What's so unique and cool about it is the ability to just be the artistry of it. And I how cool is that? I have never heard of anything like that. You guys build out your own lines. You build out whatever you're willing to do in terms of freestyle tricks. I mean, that is so unique and so savvy, and not many sports have that, which I love, because you really peel back the layers and you show who you are and what you bring to the table.
Yeah, it is truly an expression of your personality through sports, and I feel like with a lot of sports, you don't really get that opportunity. You're kind of pigeonholed into, just going fast or, there's there's not a whole lot of opportunity in sports to be absolutely 100% your creator of what you wanna do.
That's incredible. Can you just give us a little bit of context of how you kind of started this and how you started pushing the envelope and fighting for women to be a part of this? Because if I'm not wrong, women only started competing in Red Bull Rampage last year in 2024. Is that correct?
Yeah, 2024 was the first year. It was, a long time coming. And I feel like I was inspired to do Rampage at 17 when I, um, went and watched it for the first time in 2008. So the return of Rampage, it had taken a hiatus for 4 years, so
Oh,
it was a big
wow.
deal when it came back, and I just graduated high school, and I drove to the desert to watch it because it was what I grew up on is, like, watching Rampage and Neural Disorder and all those, like, Freeride movies, and that was it, like, as the pure inspiration for mountain biking for me, and ever since then, it was, like, on my resume. I was like, "I'm going to do Red Bull Rampage." I know there's not a category, but we're gonna figure it out. So, yeah, I spent, years and years with that as my goal, like, working on it, working on that side of, my skill set, and, yeah, then there was Formation that sorta showed up, with Katie Holden and Red Bull, and we had an opportunity to kinda showcase our riding in that terrain and kinda prove ourselves a bit. And then after that, it sort of died out. I kinda gave up. I was like, "Maybe we'll never get Rampage. Maybe it's just, like, gonna not happen for us," and I was, like,
Yeah.
having to be okay with that, and I kinda let it go. And I feel like that's when things happen is when you stop wanting it so hard. It's like you gotta take the pressure off it, like, 2 years later, Rampage was had a women's category, and it was insane. I was
It's
like, "No
insane.
way."
Yeah. I tell you what though, it's truly this. I got the opportunity to hear Reese Witherspoon speak about why she chose to build out Hello Sunshine, and it was a female-led, company, and she wanted parity and equity and all these things, and there's something that she said that I it will never leave me. If you don't see it, build it yourself. And
Yeah,
I
exactly.
think more women need to hear that. Like, if you don't see yourself in it, then build it yourself and show what is possible, and I think that's the groundwork that you've all laid is
Yeah,
really showing what's 'cause I say this all the time, seeing is absolutely believing, and I think there's this weird kind of thought process around extreme and action sports that it's like the safety of women, and this is like too nuts or crazy, and there's so much at stake. And I'm curious with like the mindset we've all been raised in. I can't speak for you, but I've done a little research. We grew up playing with boys. Like
yeah.
I
I
didn't
didn't
know anything different. Like I just wanted to
exactly.
rip and rock just like my
Yeah,
brother.
I didn't see a difference. I was like, "Ah, if he can do it, I can do it." It's just like there was never I know I wasn't raised in, like, society really. I was, like, kind of a bush kid,
Yep.
um like, there was no, like, raising your girls differently than the boys, so, yeah, it was all rough and tumble and horsing around all the time, um, yeah, and I feel like that makes a huge difference, is, like,
Yeah.
the kids today, like, if you're influenced by, the common media streams and stuff, you're just like what girls are shown that they should be is totally different from, like, what is actually the reality of what you can be, and
Yeah.
if you're not hunting for it, then you just sort of you fall into the expectations of the world around you, and, um, yeah, I feel like it takes a bit of grit and kinda seeing things differently and carving your own path to figure it out and put yourself in places that no one's been before.
I'm curious about that. What is the mindset for you? Because I know you've dealt with like injury. It's a high impact, like high risk sport. Is this the way you live your life in general, or is it just on a bike?
No, it's honestly, it's the way I live my life in general, like, I'm always, like, eating shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
regardless on what I'm doing. I'm like, and I got bucked off my horse so hard the other day. I'm like, holy moly, like falling without any equipment on is quite alarming compared to
Yeah.
like when you're mountain biking, you have a full face helmet on, you're ready to you're ready to hit the ground. But yeah, when you're not ready for it, it's wild. Um, I grew up pretty wild, like in the bush. I feel like it set the pace for the rest of my life, and
Mm.
I can't live in, like, a regular person's world. There's just no chance in hell that I could survive, so, like, no matter what I'm doing, I'm always, like, looking for the edge for some reason. I don't know.
Oh,
Yeah,
it's so true though. It's so
yeah,
true. A lot of people, because I was nuts as a kid and I
yeah.
played on, we spoke, you had a history of playing soccer as well. I played on boys teams until I was 15. And
Wow, that's
people
sick.
were like, "Are you kidding me?" And I was like, "Yeah." I honestly, and I say this, I think they learned more from playing with me than I learned with playing with them.
Oh, yeah,
I
it's
I
totally different, hey? Yeah.
I say this all everyone always thinks, "Oh my god, that's why, all these young girls are so good who grow up playing with boys sports and this and that." And I'm like, "No, I think it was a really
Yeah,
insane learning lesson for them because I was made fun of so much, and they were like, "Oh, you have a girl on your team and she's the goalkeeper. It's gonna be a joke." But the way they learned to respect me, how to talk to me, like
yeah,
these type of lessons, they protected me like I was their sister. And I think, they couldn't have like the boy talk in the locker room
yeah.
wasn't to disrespect me.
I think it's important to mix like,
Yes.
all like, genders, like, mix them up, like, when you get sent away to, like, a girls' school or whatever and boys' school, I feel like those kids just don't learn how to cooperate together as a society, and they come
No.
out into the real world, and they don't know what's going on, so and I also think, like, girls in general, like, watching my young nieces, like, attack sports, they think things through a lot more, they, like, their process is different, it's maybe not as quick as a boy's, but the end result is sometimes better because they have thought it through and they've taken time to watch what's going on and, like, figured out, like, the best way to accomplish, their goals and stuff in that game.
So, yeah, so
Yeah,
true.
different
So,
minds, yeah.
totally different minds. And with
Mhm.
that, like, Red Bull Rampage is coming up in the next few weeks, and we're all going to be there together, which I'm super stoked about. How do you prepare for it? Like, how do you prepare? Because you guys build out your own lines. And I think
Yeah,
that's what people don't realize is like, you're literally coming up with all of this on your own, and you don't get that much time, correct? Like,
yeah, it's pretty quick turnaround on that for
yeah,
sure, and from your scout day to the day you're riding your bike, you go through so much, like, growth, it's insane, like, scout day, you have, like, nausea and, like, jelly legs hiking up on that terrain,
yeah,
it's like it's unbelievable, you're walking up there, you're like, "How the hell am I gonna bring a bike up here and ride down?" Like, it seems impossible, but day after day, the process of building your trail, building your line, you just get more and more comfortable with the exposure, and by the time you actually get on your bike, you're like, "Okay, it all makes sense," and I feel like that's the beauty of Rampage is that process of, like,
mm,
becoming acquainted with your line so much because you actually have hands in the dirt there. You show up to an event where you have no say in the way that something is built. It's sort of just like showing up to a stranger's house and figuring it out rather than, like, becoming one with your line and
so
really
true.
visualizing it from everything and tweaking it the way you wanna ride it. Um yeah, but it's also really scary because it's gnarly out there. You, like, start
Well,
at the top, you have to be okay with getting really hurt if things don't go well.
it's really like there's no 1 foot in, 1 foot out when it comes to this. Like this is like I can go on the field and it's not life or death. Let's just say that. So the honestly though, the mental load and the mental preparation, you're talking about physical. The mental load it takes to charge something the way you do is not a small feat. And I'm curious, like, how do you hold that pressure? And what do people not know that they don't quite realize about the strategy behind Rampage that you would actually tell someone tuning in who would have no context? Like what is the strategy behind it that maybe most people don't talk about?
Well, I feel like it's different for everyone, but for me, I see it as like a energy budget. I have my mental energy budget and then my physical energy budget. Because we're digging all day, every day for, like, over a week, it
Oh,
is something else to, like, hop on your bike after being on the tools for, like, huge days. It's like you have to take care and take tabs on where you are physically because if you are totally gassed by the time contest day comes around, you're not gonna be able to hold on to those huge sends that you've prepared for yourself. Like, you're gonna, like yeah, you need to make sure that you save in your energy and making sure that you have built a line that accounts for that energy loss as well, because 'cause you're not gonna be 100% on game day. That's just, like, not gonna happen happen because 'cause you've been working so hard. You're gonna be so tired.
I'm
And then,
curious.
like yeah,
Dude, how do you calculate risk though? Like, because you
yeah,
are building this out. Like, when you talk about risk versus reward, like, that's like what we talk about in soccer, right? Our job in soccer is to manipulate the opponent, right? So sometimes we'll play with the three back. Sometimes we're flying numbers forward because we're calculating risk versus reward. So, how
yep,
do you do that in your sport where you're like, oh shit, I have to show my artistry in this? However, like something has to be calculated because if I do all this and lay all the groundwork
yeah.
and something major happens, like I'm kind of fucked.
Totally, yeah, and I feel like it takes a long time to, get to know the terrain. The way that the weather works in that area as well is really important because, I mean, I always try and pick a line that's out of the wind because it is
Mm.
so windy there, and sometimes you have to compete in a bit of wind or, like, ride down this, avoid ridge line. I avoid ridge lines at all costs. I'm like, "Okay, if I have to touch a ridge line, it's gonna be quick, and I'm not gonna, be on the ridge the whole way because if you're riding in the wind, you're dead. Like, it's so gnarly. If you hit a drop and the wind catches your tires or your wheels, you have no chance of, like, recovering from that. It's
Damn.
yeah, so and sometimes the wind just kicks up, like, during your race during your event, and, like, you have to account for that, and then also digging, you wanna be able to dig in the shade. So I try and figure
Mm.
out where on the mountain the sun's gonna be and the best way to dig, like, out of the elements. It's all about saving energy. Those little percentages make a huge difference. And the ridge lines, yeah, they're sick and they're huge showboat, like, drops and stuff, but I'm like for me, it's like longevity. I wanna do
Yeah.
this for a long time,
Yeah.
and you can make an insane run off the ridge lines as well.
And Casey, how old are you now? Because like it's so funny to me. I ask this because I'm laughing in my head because you've really you've been such a pivotal figure in what you've been doing, and you're also like a fucking child. I mean, like you've been doing this for decades and you're one of the OGs who's like a a child.
Yeah, I am. I'm like the oldest Grom you'll know. Yeah. Like I'm 34 now.
It's crazy.
I know. So
You've
yeah,
been
been at
doing
it
this for so long.
so long. I know. But it's been such an adventure and I feel like I've done it for so long because it's been such a dynamic journey for me. I'm like
Mm,
carving this pathway where I'm like, I don't know where I'm going next, but I know my goal's over here and there's got to be a way to get there. Um that's like yeah, we'll figure it out somehow. So yeah, I've done tons of different disciplines in mountain biking and yeah.
well, you've also been laying the foundation for a long time. And I think that's pretty incredible because a lot of people, they don't understand the package that comes with being the first. There's a lot of responsibility, there's a lot of
Yeah.
pressure. And you didn't always sign up for being the advocate. You didn't always sign up for being the fighter. If you don't see it, build it, believe it, like make this
Yeah.
possible, give it permission for all these other young girls and women to want to be a part of something like this. Like you make history over and over and over, but I know that comes with pressure. I've been
Totally,
there.
yeah, I
Like,
know, yeah. I know, yeah.
you're not only like, it's one thing to like ride for yourself or play for yourself, but it's a whole
Yeah,
nother pressure when you're carrying the weight of the sport on your back and paving the way for so many young girls. Like, how do you hold the weight of that? Like being the
dude,
first.
it's so gnarly. Sometimes, like, when I see my friends get hurt, I'm just like even last year when Cammy crashed, I felt so much guilt. I
Mm,
was like, cause she hit her head so hard, her face was, like, split in half, like, it was so gnarly, and I just, like it's like, "Oh my god, was this a good idea?" Like, all these, like, thoughts came rushing through my head, like, "Should have I not pushed for this?" Like, it's just, like, you feel the weight of everyone's, like, you know, any mistake somebody makes, you're like, "Is that on me? Like, was I, like did I do that?" Like, it's so
mm.
gnarly when yeah, cause you know, yeah, it's not chill out there when somebody goes down, it's pretty serious, so,
Yeah, and I'm
yeah,
curious
it's a lot of
because
pressure.
it is a lot of pressure, and you know, both of us know being in the elite in the 1%, I mean, we're one percenters of what we do, comes with a lot of like setbacks, comes with a lot of
Yeah,
injuries. And I say
for
this
sure.
often, you know, I had so many injuries as a player, and people were always wondering like, how do you like keep playing after all of this? And I say this with the most like truth in my heart. Without all of my injuries and without all of my setbacks, I wouldn't be the person I am today. The amount of character it instills when
Yeah,
everything is stripped away and you have to sit with
for sure.
yourself, and you have to
Oh
sit
my
with
god.
yourself and get up and learn to like walk again. Like I've had both of my
Thank
knees
god.
reconstructed,
Oh my
ACL,
god.
MCL, meniscus,
Yeah,
like you name it.
yeah,
To how fucking humbling to wake up from that surgery and like
yeah.
I couldn't even lift my leg.
Oh my
I had to
god.
learn to walk without a limp. And I'm like, how am I ever going to get back on the biggest stage in the world? And has that been, have you felt that in any way? What was the biggest setback that has taught you so much?
Yeah, I mean, I've had lots of injuries and, it's, like, such a learning opportunity. Every single injury has, like, so much, like, wisdom in it if you just look. Like, there's so many good lessons with
Mm,
any kinda setback, like, even, like, sponsorship-wise, if you lose a sponsor or, like, you know, any kinda setback has some beautiful lessons in it, and you just have to look for the good things within every, like, setback. I mean,
yeah.
it feels like a long climb back sometimes, but, um, it's just like you gotta just take it little bite by little bite, and eventually you'll get back there. Um, but yeah, it is so hard sometimes. You're just like, "Is it worth it?" Like, you go through this whole thing, like yeah,
Yeah,
a
that's
lot of
the
self
those
yeah.
moments when you're talking to yourself in the darkest hours will teach you so much about resilience and showing up. Because you have to push, there's like a wall, you know, when things happen, whether you make mistakes, whether you fuck up in front of everyone or you have gnarly injuries, the difference, we have to wake up every single day and choose to do it again.
Yeah,
And that mental load is what people don't understand. It's like I'm choosing when I barely can get out of bed to put a smile on and do it over and over and
yeah,
over
and
again.
figure it out,
And
and figure it out.
and if it didn't, you know, after one injury, if I can't move the way I used to, it's my job to figure out the cheat code on how to get back there, and it might be different.
Yeah,
And
I
like
know, it's
the
crazy
it's so crazy
how
what
much
the
your body
mind.
changes after injury. You're
Oh,
just like, "Wow, this is new. This is a new body. Let's figure
let's
this one
figure
out."
it out.
Yeah,
Exactly. And, you know, women
yeah,
so often have been left off and left out of these biggest stages in extreme sports. Like, what I'm curious what barriers are still in the way and how you see this moment shifting the landscape because of Red Bull Rampage.
I just feel like once there's, the equal pay and stuff, it just represents that amount of respect,
Mm,
and it allows for the younger generation to come through with full force, and the earlier you can get into the sport that you wanna do and thrive within it, like, the higher the talent pool is gonna be and the deeper the talent pool is gonna be. I still feel like there's, like, a bit of, um, community that needs to be built around the women's
mm.
freeride scene. So I created Dark Horse to kinda do that, like, bring all the girls together that may not know each other from an area and, like, build the community, with my event, and, yeah, it's made so many little core crews around the
I
world, it's so
love
sick.
that.
Yeah, so it just, like, helps, when you have, like, a crew to do the thing that you wanna do
Well,
with, it makes a
well,
huge difference.
yeah, and I love that, and I love what you've built, but most people who are listening right now, they don't know what Dark Horse is. Do you mind
Yeah.
explaining, like, what you built, why you built it? Because it
Yeah.
is so important.
Yeah, so I evolved it into, um, 5 days of coaching this year for, like, really up and coming riders, like, girls that just are interested in free ride or mountain biking in general, and just, like, not necessarily focusing just on the mountain biking side of it, but also focusing on the, the industry side of it, like how to deal with a concussion,
Mm,
um make a deck for your sponsors to, maybe make a short film or something about, mountain biking or anything like that, and then, basically how to operate within the industry, because that was such a mystery for us. Like,
yeah,
when I was a Grom, I was like, "I don't know how to get a sponsor, like, what I don't know what they want." Like,
yeah.
you gotta figure that out the hard way when you're, you know, carving a path, and, so I'm just trying to deliver that in a way where these girls like, if you wanna be a free rider, here's the here's the instruction manual,
Yeah,
and, like, do it in an authentic way, and, like, be yourself and find your path within mountain biking wherever it may lead you. But, yeah, meet your heroes and
I
ride Dark
love that.
Horse, and then the winner of the Dark Horse Award, gets a entry to natural selection bike in New Zealand. So, yeah,
Sick.
it's kind of like an on-ramp from, like, very, very beginnings to, like, maybe at the end you get to go do a main stage event, and, yeah, that's the idea, is just, you know, trying to give that opportunity to the Groms.
I love that, and it's so powerful and so needed, and I don't see that very often when it comes to women's sports in general, is really laying that foundation, and that access is really what you're granting them, is this type of access.
It's like my idea for it is, like, because when we go to events, like, our field is so much smaller than the men's field, so each individual holds so much more pressure on themselves to, like, not get hurt or, like, to be successful, because you're taking such a bigger percentage of the main show on yourself. Like, last year we had 8 girls at Rampage, and I was like, if if half of us get hurt or, like, can't compete on the main day, then we only have 4 riders in the whole category. Like, that's what happened at natural selection last year. The same amount of guys got hurt as women, but because our field was so small, we only had 4 riders at the end, and it just made us look
Wow.
not that sick, right? Like, it's sweet we had a category, but I feel like if we deepened and strengthened the field, we'll be so much better off.
Yes. Agree. And now that, like, I wanna peel back the layers a little bit, because I imagine someone like yourself, you're always chasing the, like, adrenaline of what you do, and I'm curious on the human side, like, what do you do outside of writing, and the high intensity and level of adrenaline that you chase doing the sport that you love? Like, what brings you peace? Like, who are you outside of riding and the bike?
Yeah, I feel like, balance is so key, and recently I've acquired horses, and I have, like, other things that I do. I like to do art, and I like to have, like, downtime and different skill sets to work on. And I feel like having diversity in your life and, like, having family dinners and, like, bringing friends and people together, is so important for me, and yeah, I have this intense athlete life, but I also have this really wholesome life at home that is really fulfilling as well.
It's sick. I think it is so important, and you nailed it. Balance is so key. I think, especially with the high intensity and impact that it takes to do what you do, like without that balance, like you're totally depleted because it takes so much mental strength and fortitude and physical. Like it's just encompassing such a big part of how you move. Like you've got to be able to shut off. Like you have to be able to find peace and be grounded because the smallest mistakes, I would imagine, are so costly in what you do. Like I can make a mistake and there's 10 other players and all these people have my back and like that doesn't exist. You make one wrong mistake, it's a huge fucking deal.
Yeah, it's a long road back.
So when you look ahead to Rampage, now in October, like what's your vision for the moment when you're at the bottom? Like when you've charged your run, no matter how it goes, like what does that look like for you? Do you imagine and do you have a mindset when it comes to, I imagine you're going through what you're going to do and how you're going to accomplish it, but like what is the moment for you at the bottom?
I think, like, having my family there is so nice. Like, last year, my sisters greeted me at the bottom after my run, and it was, like, so emotional. It was, like, one of the things I've been working on my whole career, and just having my family there was so big for me and that support. Um, and I feel like for me, my run is supposed to be fun, challenging, and showcase my personality, and that's my goal this year as well, is just to, like, showcase my playful personality through the way I ride my bike, challenge myself enough, not riding out of my skin, not doing anything that I don't know how to do already because that's, like, yeah, you don't wanna get hurt, you wanna make it to the bottom, so, um, yeah, I just try and, do my best to have the best time at Rampage
I love
and
that.
not, like, make it this big stressful thing because that's not why I ride a bike. I don't
Nope.
ride a bike for that reason. I wanna have fun.
I love that, and you need the
Yeah.
freedom to have fun, and I love that you lay the foundation and landscape for that and not take yourself too seriously because, I mean, it's a lot of pressure on your shoulders, and
Yeah. I mean,
you
at
as
the end of
well
the day,
as
riding a bike, like,
yeah,
we're so lucky that we get to do that for, like, for a living, and, um, yeah, if you showcase the fun and the good, then more people are gonna wanna do it rather than,
absolutely,
like, showcasing the scary and the not so fun, so, yeah.
and I hope, as we continue to talk more about, you know, these incredible action sports and extreme sports that exist and now are opening up and paving the way for categories of just women and girls. I think it's so vital and so important.
Yeah.
And I appreciate your activism and continuing to not only do what you love, but lay the landscape so other people can do it as well. And I think that's what makes you so special. I hope everyone tunes in to Red Bull Rampage, which is coming up in October. There's 2 days, correct, of riding. Um, yeah, what do you wanna tell the listeners? What would you like to leave them besides tuning in to Red Bull Rampage?
Yeah, I mean, tune in. Women are riding on the 16th, men are riding on the 18th. It's gonna be an insane year because we're on a different venue than last year. This venue's been used before, so we're gonna see the ladies sending it so much bigger and harder than last year. Because last year we're on, like, a fresh venue that didn't have anything pre-built, so, yeah, we've got, like, I'm really excited to see this year, and we have a bigger field. There's 12 women this year as opposed to 8, so
Yep.
I'm so hyped. It's gonna be so fun out there. I can't wait to get my shovel in the dirt.
I love that, and I appreciate your fire. I appreciate you being such a massive trailblazer for your sport and, for the whole community at large, and, I appreciate you taking the time today and really unpacking what it takes to be the best and really peeling back the layers and the vulnerability of how hard it is to do what we do, and we wanna create more opportunity for this younger generation to not be scared and to charge it, and anything is possible, and, what a cool way to have these young kids just absolutely adore and look up to you, and, I love that, and I appreciate it, and let's continue the good fight of opening these doors for other women, so they can do the things that we've done.
Yeah, hell yeah, Ashlyn, I'm so stoked. I'll see you in a few days down in the des.
Yes, I'll see you soon. So good to meet you. So good to see you, Casey. Thank you for tuning in. And everyone, thanks for another episode of Wide Open. We'll see you next week.
Awesome. Thank you.